You're listening to Redesigning Reality with Dylan Charles and Jeff Anthony.
This is Redesigning Reality, the podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Charles, one of your hosts. With me, as always, Jeff Anthony, author, stellar guy. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing good.
Great.
I'm watching the gray. It's definitely winter.
What do you think? Is it a weather modification winter, or is it global warming, or is it climate change, or is it just plain fucked?
It is funny. It's kind of fucked. It is funny though that you mentioned that. I just read today that iguanas are falling out of the trees, frozen in Florida.
Fake news.
Falling out of and that bats are falling out of the sky, boiled in Australia. It's
fake.
all fake.
It's
all
fake
fake news.
It's fake news, man. I read the story on the iguanas, and they're not really. They're not like like when you read that, you're like, holy crap, these things are turning into chunks of ice. No, they're not.
No.
They're just like, it just slows down their blood.
Yeah.
I mean, they're warm-blooded creatures, and it slows down their blood so much, so they basically just fall asleep and fall out of the sky. So the headline that they're frozen stiff, falling out of trees.
They're cold-blooded creatures.
Cold-blooded.
That's what
Shit.
That's what you meant to say.
That's what I meant to say.
All right, let's start over.
Where should we start over from? Start over from last year, from birth.
Let's go back to the future.
Back to the future. Anyways, man, I'm doing good. It's the new year, and I feel like I'm detoxing.
Me too. Candida cleanse, fun battle going on in the old stomach.
Candida cleanse.
Yeah.
What's inspired you to do that, huh?
Tired of feeling dizzy and not optimal. So, it's a process of elimination. You got to eliminate the things that you think it may be. So I've tried all these other things and still feeling kind of weird. Better, but still kind of weird. So unfortunately, as you well know, I've had several surgeries and had to be put on antibiotics and all kinds of crazy crap. And it was after that all this kind of weird stuff started happening that never happened before. So, antibiotic could jack your system. So trying to flush everything out, get a clean start.
I have a wicked, terrible Candida story, but I want to know first, how do you know it's Candida? Are you just kind of shooting in the dark, hoping that resolves the symptoms, or how do you know for sure? Have you ever taken any kind of tests, or how do you know it's Candida?
Is it a multiple choice test, the Candida test? Is it multiple choice, or?
I don't know. I mean, everybody has Candida, but...
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. No, I didn't go do the live blood analysis or whatever. I have done it before and had kind of high Candida, but it wasn't, what you would consider Candida overgrowth or whatever. So, no, instead of going, I guess I'm trusting my intuition on this one,
right.
And I'm doing an herbal cleanse anyway, so it's not like it's going to hurt me if I do a cleanse, and eliminate a bunch of crap from my diet right now anyway. So that's kind of the route I'm going. I figure it can't, a bunch of oregano oil and wormwood and black walnut husk isn't going to, it's not like it's going to hurt you. It's probably good for you. And I will tell you that since I started, my stomach's just going berserk. So, and my head feels better, like a less dizzy, more focus, kind of thing.
Clarity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, though, you're guessing. You're trying to address a certain set of symptoms, and Candida, sort of what you read about it, fits the profile. The reason why I'm asking this is because I had a long experience with what I suspect was Candida overgrowth. But I was in the same position. I had to just kind of go, okay, well, my gut tells me it's Candida.
Right? I mean, that's what this is. This is it's an intuitive, kind of a guidance to do this thing. So, and it's something that I think it's like the kind of thing where You know how you have something on your mind and then it keeps coming into your awareness? We've talked about synchronicity in some of our past shows, and it just seemed like a synchronicity. Like it keeps coming up and coming up. And so, yeah, I figured why not? The heck with it. It's a new year. It's a new beginning. Let's get on top of this thing. Like I said, it's not gonna hurt anything to take a bunch of herbs and try to get your diet cleaned up, kind of thing.
Yeah, so check it. Let's dive into this. This was a major turning point for me in understanding my health and how to like take charge of my health. It's probably in the 20. I was probably about 29, 30 years old. And I was pretty healthy. I was doing kung fu and stuff all the time. I was in excellent shape at that time. And all of a sudden I got an ear infection. And I hadn't had an ear infection since I was, in my teens or what have you. I got an ear infection, went to the doctor. He gives me ETHEREUM, which is a 3-dose, super powerful antibiotic, right? I take the first dose that day. I wake up the next morning, brain fog. I didn't know the term brain fog at the time. It's just like the whole world was foggy, clouded over.
Right.
And that was the first day. I had a friend's party I had to go to, like on a boat or something. I remember sitting on the boat going, "Holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with me?" Like I feel like I feel like my spirit is like disassociated from my body. I feel like I'm hovering outside of my body. It's so intense. I can't concentrate on anything. I just feel like, just not present. And so no big deal. I go to bed, wake up the next day, and same thing. It's worse. Then I start getting insomnia. Then I start getting dizzy. Then I start getting I start having troubles looking at the computer. Like if I look at the computer, and I worked in video games, so I was always looking at the computer. And when I looked at the computer, I would start to fall asleep. I was having troubles driving. This carried on for a few days, then a week, then 2 weeks. So I started going to the doctors. I had all the insurance and all that kind of stuff. So I started going to the doctors. Went to my general practitioner. Full exam. "Oh, you look pretty healthy, son. Maybe it's in your head. What do you know? And I'm like, "No, it's not in my head." He's like, "Well, let's send you to specialists. Let's spend more money on this. Let's get more tests." So it's blood tests. I go do like the blood sugar tests. The ones where you don't eat. And then you go in and you like drink some super glucose beverage and wait a little bit, and they run all kind of stuff to see how your body processes sugars. Mm-hmm. Those kinds of tests. He sent me to the neurologist. So it's that guy with the little triangular rubber hammer that whack on your kneecap like they used to do in the cartoons.
Yeah.
And so I had been to, I guess, several specialists for this and that, and at the neurologist, the guy was like, "Yeah, I mean, you look pretty good." And I'm like, "No, man, I'm not good." Insomnia was one of the big things. I couldn't sleep at all. Like for some reason, couldn't sleep at all. And so he's like, "Man, okay, well, let's do a spinal tap on you." And I'm like, "You're fucking kidding me, right? A spinal tap? Tell me more about that." He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna drive this big needle into your spine and suck out some fluid of your spine, And I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm barking up the wrong tree here, man. Let's forget this.
No.
Yeah, sign me out, And, when I hear spinal tap, I think of that movie, right? Turn it up to 11. And I'm like, this is like some torture thing. But anyways, right. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'll pass on the spinal tap. Thanks, bud. And so I go back to my doctor, to my general practitioner. This is after like 6 weeks or 2 months or something of going on. Still, symptoms are still the same. It's affecting my work. My wife is starting to get annoyed with me because I'm never in a good mood. I never have any energy to do anything. I'm just always
irritable.
Irritable, and I'm freaked out on the inside. I'm trying not to panic, so it's turning into anxiety. It's turning into depression. It's multiplying. It's fucking everything up, man. And so I go back to my general practitioner and I say, "Okay, doc, took advice. I went here, I went there. I took this test, I took that test. Great, good physical shape, proper weight, blah, 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 blah. I passed on the spinal tap. Where does that put me?" Dude, the guy runs his exam or whatever, talks to me, we talk it out. He reaches in his magic drawer of sample pills, pulls out, guess what he pulls out? Can you guess? Can you guess?
Antidepressant.
Antidepressants. Yeah.
Yes, those are known for curing Candida.
Those are known for curing everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. The one pill solution.
Dude, so he pulls out antidepressants, and I had already been down this route with my doctor trying to just, throw antidepressants at everything, and I already caught on to that. I think I've told that story before in this podcast, but I already got the clue that antidepressants weren't going to make me happy, and so,
hey, ignore all those symptoms in here. Just feel good.
Feel good. I mean, I just smoke a big doob. You feel good, bro.
Feel good.
So, I mean, there's other ways to feel good than popping, hexafluorine, fluorine, or whatever fucking all these crazy chemicals into your system every day.
Right.
So I'm like, man, nah, man, you're missing it. You're off the mark, pal. I'll see you. I'm out of this. I'll, pay the bill and I'm gone. So there I am. I walk out, sunny day, feel like total dog shit, and I'm on my own, right? Okay, it was just me and my health, right? Like, okay, ain't nobody gonna fix this but me. So when you take charge, and we talked about this too with the whole like depression story, and the doctor sending me home with 7 different types of pills to deal with this and that, and me dumping them in the trash. But when you walk out, when you realize that you've reached the end of the program with the I like to call it the medical establishment. When you get to the end of their program, you either fold up and just go home and watch daytime TV till you for the rest of your life.
Well, and
you figure it out.
Well, the other issue is, okay, so then there's the Chinese route, right? You got Chinese medicine, you got acupuncture, you got
that's where this is going.
Naturopath doctors and all the kind of people that you and I both became aware of, because Western medicine doctors will be like, well, Candida can't cause that. I mean, you're supposed to have Candida. That's a natural yeast. It's in your digestive system, and it's supposed to be there. Well, it's not supposed to be overgrown because you took a bunch of antibiotic that killed off all your good flora in your stomach, and then let this one thing get out of hand. So, you got to start to pursue other routes and information, and then you get with a good chiropractor or naturopath or acupuncturist, and you start having all these issues like all kinds of stuff. Like, I've had this ear ringing thing, and that's another one of the symptoms of the Candida thing. And so instead of my doctor listening to me recently, they sent me to an audiologist and want to give me a hearing aid and stuff because my ear's ringing. And I'm like, yeah, but my ear is still ringing. The hearing aid isn't not making my ear. Well, no, it's not going to not make your ear ring. It's just going to make it where you can hear better with your ear ringing. And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my ear to stop ringing. So, it's kind of hilarious. I'm like, I'm 40 freaking 2, man. I don't need no fucking hearing aid. So, anyway, and the proof was there because I put the hearing aid in. I was like, whoa, everything's really fucking loud now. And she was like, oh, yeah, you got to get used to that. I'm like, I'm not going to get used to this. This is fucking weird, So, like I was saying, you got to kind of get off that path, as you and I both well know, and then start to pursue some other answers. And then those naturopath doctors and stuff are going to tell you, well, absolutely, Candida causes brain fog and can cause hearing, ringing in your ears, and, depression and fibromyalgia, all these things that are man, what's the word I'm looking for? They can't find the reason or source for fibromyalgia in Western medicine, but then naturopath doctors know that it could be a Candida overgrowth that's going to cause pain in your joints and blah blah blah, and on it goes. So,
well, where I was going was that I remember leaving this doctor's office, and it was like stepping into a portal of self-awareness, right? Stepping through a portal, like there's no turning back. Like you got to figure this out for yourself. And there's been a few times in my life where that's happened, where something, where I've basically taken all the information and signs being given to me and said, hey, no, this isn't my path. I got to go in another direction. And when I took that leap of faith, or whatever you want to call it, and said, hey, okay, I'm taking control, that's when, the synchronicities open up, the proper path reveals itself. And so when I did that, when I went on here, I was like, crap, I'm all alone. I've gone through every doctor I can think of, every specialist. I got to figure out a way to heal myself, because this is not how I envision my life. Dude, just like out of that, all of a sudden I start hearing information about food and the importance of proper diet. And a friend of mine who's a really like high level athlete was like, "Oh man, how are you feeling these days?" And he had known what was going on, and so he was like, "Dude, you got to go see this doctor. He works with like food allergies. He tests your blood and against certain food. And so I went to this doctor, and he ran, I don't know what kind of test it was. I don't recall. It's been a long time, but he ran a sample of my blood against like 100 and something different types of food. And so a week later, when I get the results back, he says, look, you got to stop eating yeast. You got to stop intaking yeast, intaking brewer's yeast, and walnuts of all things. Those are the only 3 things we've found that are causing a serious reaction. It's the way they described it was like not necessarily an allergy, but a food sensitivity. He never mentioned Candida. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. Starting now, today, I'm doing it. And yeast is a messed up one to give up, man, because it's in everything. It's in all the sauces, ketchup, soy sauce. It's in any kind of alcohol, wine, beer, any kind of ultra distilled clear liquors. So
bread.
It's baker's yeast in bread, and so pretty much every processed food has hydrolyzed yeast in it. Pasta, everything that you can get in a package has yeast.
Man, you can't eat anymore, Dylan.
No, pretty much exactly. And it was like he's like, dude, you have to do this, and he's like, the thing is, you don't need to do it forever. You just need to do it for 3 months, and then you can reintroduce some of the stuff, dude. Within 2 weeks after, literally, this had gone on for a year and a half. Within 2 weeks, boom, the head clears up. Digestion starts working again. My attention span comes back. My focus comes back online. And so I carried it out for the full 3 months and ended up reintroducing all this stuff, whatever I wanted to over time. And it was, I healed myself, basically.
And that's the healer's journey, right? All of us are on the healer's journey. But, so many people, they want to try to heal others or tell others what to do, and yet they won't take the steps to heal themselves in their own life first. And that's the true healer's journey. It starts with you. It starts with following your intuition, believing in yourself, believing that you can do this stuff, and taking up the mantle to fight your own battles, right? And stop putting it in the hands of Western medicine or doctors or whatever, your friends or your mom. Hey, Mom, I don't feel good.
Where's the thermometer?
Mom. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you heal yourself. It's on you. It should be on you. I remember, we've talked about this before, but I remember when I started my healer's journey in Costa Rica, and I mean like the hero dose ayahuasca journeys and other ceremonies and all this kind of stuff. That was definitely on me, dude. And a lot of times, people invited me to do these things, and everything inside of me was screaming no, but then my mouth said yes. And I'm literally like, dude, I can't believe I just said yes to doing this thing that's going to suck, but it was absolutely, the thing I needed to do for myself at that time. And intuition will guide you, and I don't know. And that's where I'm at with this. I'm taking all these probiotic and prebiotic and this herbal thing for this Candida. And already, dude, 2 days in, I could feel a difference in my, my head feels clearer. My attitude's different, and it's and granted, a lot of that is probably like changing, like you said, like we all have sensitivities to food. And when you're doing something like this, you got to cut out all the dairy and all the processed everything and bread and all that anyway. So, eating good, antibiotic-free, grass-fed proteins and stuff like that, and organic eggs and all this kind of stuff is good. And it's cool because here in the States, it's kind of way easier to find a lot of this stuff than it was when we were down in Costa Rica for 10 years or whatever, That's the thing. That's what happened to me after like 10 years after this experience with Candida. And I still, at the time that I healed from it, I didn't know it as Candida. It like over the course of like 5 or 6 years later, I started reading more about it, and the term Candida started to like enter into the lexicon, the zeitgeist of holistic health, if you will. And so I started to hear more about Candida and reading things like, it can be, triggered by, like when everybody has Candida, right? It's a fungus that grows in your body. Everybody, right.
And so it's a yeast, I guess, and it grows in your body. It's, it's on the surface of fruits and vegetables and everything. I mean, it's just out there. You need it in your body. But the thing is, when your gut flora and your microbiome gets out of balance, the Candida can sort of take over and start to run the show. And when that happens, it generates all kind of strange symptoms. One of those symptoms was ear infections. And, you know, like you're talking about with the ringing in the ear. And so that's why when I came down with an ear infection, I was like, this is a huge red flag. Cause I haven't been swimming, you know, like I was on the swim team when I was a kid. It wasn't like that. And so, I started thinking, you know, looking back on, man, this was Candida, you know, like I'd read some stuff about saying how it was something that's in your body. It can get out of balance and start causing symptoms, but you can live with it. And then something severe can throw it way out of balance and put you into like a health tailspin. In my case, it was the antibiotics. You know, the doctor gives me antibiotics for an ear infection, put that into my body, kills off all the good flora. And the next thing you know, it's completely out of whack, overload. And I start getting the brain fog symptoms, and, you know, my body starts basically shutting down. And so in Costa Rica, you know, because spent a lot of time in Costa Rica, like, I hate to say it, but Costa Rica uses like way more pesticides, herbicides, fungicides than any other country on the planet to produce its food. I still can't wrap my head around that one, Jeff, man. It's such a beautiful
Pura
place.
vida, man. Pura vida.
Pura vida. Pura vida. I talked to this this woman who worked with a bunch of Japanese farmers to bring the first organic farming to Costa Rica, like close to 20 years ago. You know, they all set up in the Sarcero area, and she was telling me that the reason why there's not more organic produce in Costa Rica is because, first off, the farmers are wealthy enough there to be able to afford all the agrochemicals, and the agrochemical industry has, you know, had free access to the country because of its, you know, the relationship with both China and the United States that Costa Rica has, but also that the major food suppliers in the country, people like Walmart, he runs, you know, the Poly, the Maxi Poly, the Super Maxis,
Maxi Bodega,
Maxi Bodegas, Super Maxis, all those stores that are everywhere, all the produce, those are all owned by Walmart. So Walmart would go in, and anybody that produced organic produce Walmart would go in and buy all of their organic produce, throw it on the shelves, and not label it as organic. So nobody knew what they were eating. So it just got mixed up with everything. So nobody knew. So she was like, it's probably going to take another 20 years of stomach cancers and, you know, what they call gastritis, these digestive issues that so many Costa Ricans have.
Dude, tons of Costa Ricans have that, man.
In my neighborhood, in the barrio where we lived,
Yo tengo gastritis.
Gastritis, my. Ay, tú también.
I know. All these older dudes that I do in Ojuchal, you know, and at first I thought maybe it's because they're all alcoholics and stuff. I didn't get it, but I realized later on it's the food, man.
It's the food. It's both the produce and it's also the processed foods that they eat too. You know, like the Maggie brand caldos and stuff, the bouillons and stuff that they put in everything. I mean, it's
caldo de pollo.
Man, I hate to say it. That's one of the reasons why I ended up having to decide to kind of move on, because after being there for like 5-6 years, I started to show symptoms again of Candida. So think about it, right? You know, if you've got like Monsanto's glyphosate in all of your food, glyphosate's designed to basically kill life. It's, you know, it's designed to kill living organisms. And you're getting trace or higher than trace amounts of that stuff in your body every time you eat a salad at a restaurant. You know, man, and I've talked to other organic farmers there, and they've explained to me the process of how they do lettuce there. It's pretty fucked up, man. Like he ran me through the process of all the different vegetables, and I remember the lettuce is the one that blew my mind, because he's like, you know, the agrochemical companies supply the farmers with schedules. So a farmer sets up a plot of land. And on that plot of land, the farmer says, okay, cool, well, we're going to plant lettuce in, 10 days from now. So it's 10 days from now. On that schedule, he reads the schedule and says, okay, so we apply this fungicide to the soil 10 days ahead. 5 days before you plant, you apply this herbicide or pesticide to the soil. 3 days before you plant, you apply another one. Then you plant your seed. Then you apply over that. So it's this whole schedule. And in the end, when they harvest the lettuce, they literally have these 55-gallon drums of tap water, which is filled with chlorine and all this, like whatever. They don't fluoridate the water there, which is pretty kick-ass. But the campesinos, they cut the lettuce, dip it in the bucket, put it in the package, that goes to the market for sale. Or put it in, those crates, that goes to the market for sale. So 3 or 4 heads of lettuce into it, you're dipping it in a chemical soup. Way down the line at the end of the lettuce, man, you're dipping chemical-soaked lettuce in a bunch of chemicals, then putting it on the shelf to sell. It's fucked up, man. So when your body's taking in trace amounts of this, you're killing all of the friendly flora and all the elements in your microbiome that you need to maintain. All that stuff's been proven to maintain sound mental health, poor gut flora can cause depression, anxiety, all kind of stuff, man. So I started getting the symptoms again of Candida, and for me that was like the brain fog, insomnia, really bad digestion and stuff. And so
right,
I had to go on what you're doing now, the elimination diets, basically like lean proteins and vegetables, man. So,
which is awesome too, right? Like, who doesn't like some good veg and a nice piece of steak or, chicken or fish? Dude, I smoked some fish on my smoker over the holidays. It was amazing, and I couldn't get my hands on. I mean, I got my hands on all kinds of like ocean fish in Costa Rica, but I miss like steelhead trout and salmon and stuff like that, like all that good wild caught fish. So anyway, it was fun. I'm not trying to get off topic or anything.
Yeah,
but,
you're way off topic, bro. Get yourself
way off topic
together,
with smoking fish, but
smoking fish
on a smoker,
fish
barbecue.
Smoker.
Anyway, it was really good, and it feels good too, man. Like, that's the funniest thing to me. You and I know this, and we're guilty of the same thing. I'll clean up my diet and be really good and eat the lean proteins and the veg and all that for a while, and or you go for a while and you eat really good, and then your friends are like, "Hey man, let's go have some pizza and beers." And you go eat pizza and drink some beers, dude. You come home and you're just like, "Oh my god, I gotta take a nap."
I was talking to an associate of mine just last night, and I was like, "Man, how you doing through the holidays? All good?" He's like, "Yeah, all good. How you doing?" "All good." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, but I ended up drinking a little bit, and I really don't drink that much these days. And man, that shit just threw me all out of whack." He was like, "Wow, man, me too. Like I really fell off the wagon." And I was like, "It's amazing how sensitive you become to, especially foods, like stuff that you intake and put in your body when you abstain from stuff." Dude, soda pops, if I drink one sip of a soda, like a Coke or Dr. Pepper, dude, I used to be able to drink those all day long.
Right, I know, and I can't stand it. I take two sips of a soda, and I'm just like, almost my head is spinning. I've eaten little chocolatey dessert things too recently, where I'm just like, whoa, this is like intense, man. Because I'm not a sugar person. No. I never have been my whole life. So I have really good, strong teeth and bones, I'm assuming, because I've never been a sugar intaker kind of person.
Right.
So, but that's another interesting thing, man, is sugar. I mean, sugar. Shit. People, there's sugar really was introduced to the masses during the Victorian time. And there's all these studies that have been done on people's skeletons, and like there was no such thing as osteoporosis, no such thing before Victorian time. It just didn't happen, where people have like the webbing and holes all in their skeletons and in their bones, and that all happened during the Victorian time, and then it's never gotten better. People's dental health and Native Americans weren't running around looking for a podiatrist because their bones and their feet were jacked from eating sugar their whole lives and stuff. So
yeah, but beyond that, I mean, just in the last 40, 50 years, since like the 1970s, we've recently just in recent years found out that there was a cover up about sugar that happened in the 1970s, I believe, and kind of akin to what the tobacco industry did. They basically fudged the research, the scientific bullshit, right? They pay for the research they want, cherry pick it, bury the research that they don't want the public to know about it. Then they run massive marketing campaigns to make stuff popular, like cigarettes. Like the advertising campaigns are what made cigarettes so popular, and so basically got everybody hooked on sugar. And now we know that it might very well be the number one cause of cancer. And like the World Health Organization is predicting cancer is going to be 1 in 3 people are going to have cancer within the next 10 years. It's fucking crazy. But cancer also, they're finding out that it's studies are showing that it's a lifestyle disease. Like a massive chunk of the amount of cancers are caused by the diet and the food that you take. And so the link there back to sugar is like, whoa, hold on, that's as potent as what the tobacco industry did. Like, oh no, this stuff doesn't cause cancer, man. Smoke up,
way more
Johnny.
Way more people are addicted to sugar than cigarettes. So they're not gonna take that off the shelves.
Yeah, dude. And then the studies show too that sugar is as addictive, if not more addictive than cocaine, than heroin, right? So then you go back and you say, okay, well, what does sugar do? Well, as soon as I put sugar into my body, like the Candida and all that, the funky bacteria, like goes through the roof, man. That's soul food for Candida, man.
Oh yeah, same for cancer. Sugar is the #1 food for cancer. It makes cancer grow like crazy. And yet, people go to their oncologists and they're like, oh, I can't eat anything, but I like eating ice cream. And they're like, yeah, keep eating ice cream. You're like, really? Are you fucking serious, man? That's going to kill them faster. So, I don't know, dude. The world we live in is hilarious. And, like now there's all this stuff coming out about, how all these overweight people use sweetening supplements, like aspartame. And
well, they don't market it as aspartame, but Splenda and
right, but it is aspartame,
right?
And I can tell you this for a fact, dude. I was in the military. I was on the flight crew on my ship, and there was a sign that was for the people that were pilots, and it said that if they had consumed diet beverages or anything containing aspartame, they would be grounded for a 24-hour period.
Yeah, it's a neurotoxin.
Because it has an effect on your cognitive reasoning. Right? So, and they don't want these guys crashing, $50 million airplanes and helicopters and stuff. And but yet, I believe aspartame was developed by the government. And then
it's connected to Don Rumsfeld and his whole private dealings, his whole private business that he always had going on the side when he was working his way through the defense industry.
I like the way you put that too. It's a little business on the side business,
side gig, man. Just taking care of.
I get this side gig where I sell people this white powder that gets them high,
and it kills them.
It's
awesome.
Sweet. It's sweet, man. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah,
but anyway, the point I was going to make was that, okay, so now they're saying that, okay, so this aspartame, this Splenda, the Sweet and Low, whatever you want to call it, okay, NutraSweet, I love that one. It's nutritional and sweet. Yeah. It is like 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. And here's what happens. You intake it, and your body doesn't know what to do with it, number one, because it's a chemical. Number two, your glucose levels go through the roof because it's a sweetener, right? And then three, it has the reverse effect that all these overweight people think it's going to have. They think, oh, I'm going to drink Diet Dr. Pepper because Dr. Pepper is full of corn syrup and sugar and I'm going to get fat. Well, guess what? You end up gaining weight from drinking diet beverages because your body doesn't know what to do with it, and it's sending a signal to your brain, your neurological system, and it's saying, hey, this is sugar. We need to produce more insulin, right? And then you start having all these other issues like high blood pressure and low T level, like low testosterone and higher estrogen, which all are contributors to weight gain, right? So, and dude, I'm not even a nutritionist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just an average bro.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, anybody could find this information out, and this isn't conspiratorial nothing. This is fucking fact.
Yeah, and this is all happening as, diabetes is becoming like the #1, the #2 disease in the Western world.
Cancer 1, diabetes 2.
And you'll go to the doctor and they'll put you on all kind of medications and insulin boosters and sell you these high tech insulin readers and monitors and stuff. It's fucked up, man. But dude,
and yet type 2 diabetes is curable through diet.
Through diet, there's a friend of mine was doing work with the Raw for 30 people, and it was like they did this whole documentary about it where they took 15 people or whatever with obese with diabetes and stuff and fed them nothing, brought them to a center, explained to them that they're stuck there and they're going to eat what they're told to eat, and fed nothing but raw fruits and vegetables for 30 days, and all of a sudden at the end of 30 days their insulin levels are normal. Right. Oh, amazing.
Well, dude, I did that. There's the guy, I can't remember his name. He has this one. It's called it's a juice diet, right? Where all you're doing is drinking smoothies and juices,
right?
For however long you want to, like 3 days, 7 days. I did the 28-day juice cleanse, dude. 28 days of drinking juice 4 times a day. Bro, I lost 28 pounds in 28 days.
Pound a day, man.
And I know, and I felt phenomenal, dude. Like, I felt... You want to talk about feeling clear? And anyway, I did it because I watched this documentary about this guy, Super Juice Me or something like that it was called. Anyway, you watch the documentary, this dude loses like 80-something pounds because he did it for like 98 days or something, and it's insane. And then you find out the guy who's behind it all. So I went and I watched his little documentary that this guy that's behind it all, I wish I could remember his name. He's an English bloke. And anyway, at his center, he brings in all these people, same kind of thing. They're diabetics, they're overweight, like massively overweight. And they're on all kinds of insulin and all this stuff. And they have doctors, like medical doctors, Western medicine doctors there on the premises to monitor these people's health situation as they're doing their detox and taking in all these juices. And dude, I think the longest one was like the third week. This one dude, it took him 3 weeks to get off of his insulin and all that.
Crazy.
And they did blood tests on him, and they were reversing their diabetes, their type 2 diabetes.
Do you remember where, do you remember where they had to do this at? I mean, did they do this?
It was, oh yeah, they were in Spain.
In Spain, yeah, because down in Costa Rica,
you can't do it.
You can't do it here, man. Down in Costa Rica, there's all kinds of people doing, all kinds of naturopathic, holistic health centers, all these other modalities that offer so many benefits to so many people, but you can't do it in the U.S., man. They'll come kick your door in.
It's always in Spain or Mexico or Costa Rica or Guatemala or some shit, and that should be a big warning flag to people too. Like, why are they trying to keep you from doing good things for yourself here? So, but at the same time, dude, like, bro, like, since we've moved here, after not living here for a decade and then coming back, I'm actually shocked at the amount of people that are into juicing and how many juice bars there are, and how there's still McDonald's, but McDonald's is taking a hit, dude. Like, that shit is like on its last leg, They reintroduced the dollar menu this year because they can't make a buck over there, So, and I see the line, dude. I can't believe they're hurting because I see the line. There's one near my house, and I see all these people coming out, trying to pull onto the road, shoving French fries in their mouth and stuff, and I just look at them like, oh man, that's just too bad. But
I like to take a cosmic perspective on this kind of stuff whenever possible. Like, you could sit here and say it's it's 100% conspiracy. It probably has more than anything else to do with business. I mean, even Ron Paul wrote about this in one of his books about how the sugar industry works with subsidies and everything, and that's the reason that it's a political business setup. And that's the reason why there's high fructose corn syrup and everything instead of actual sugar. But, like, there's all this crap that's being pushed into the American diet, all the processed foods and all this junk, and they're kicking all the naturopathic and holistic and juice doctors and everything out of the country. But cosmically, like, what does that force people to do? It forces people to wake up. It forces people to take control of their own lives, man. Which
is where this whole conversation started today.
So it's not. I see stuff like that as like it's the Tao in action.
Right. It's backfiring on them. Right. Like, they're trying to control people. They're trying to keep, which only guides the people to the solution. Well, the ones that are ready and the ones that are willing to seek. Right.
I started this by talking about detox and how I was detoxing, because the holidays were here. Drank some really good wine, lots of good food, just enjoyed it. My mom was in town. My daughter likes to bake, and I'm not the kind of guy, man. I'm not the kind of guy to turn down a chocolate chip cookie made by a sweet 13-year-old girl, man. I'm not going to do it at the holidays, man. I'm just not. So 1 week into this, man, It's crazy, man. Eating, fruits and vegetables only, no sugar, no dairy, gluten-free, man. Like, and it's so cool, man. It's such a good feeling, man. So I challenge anyone out there. It's a great way to start the year, man. Take control of your diet. Diet, number one, man. It's such a big deal. But you can feel that detox, man. I went running today before the show, and boom, splitting headache through the side of my head, man. Splitting headache. I'm like, oh, I recognize this feeling. This is the detox headache.
The DDTs.
The detox headache. My skin's all fucking splotchy and crappy looking, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I was looking at a bunch of photos last night, you know, the family photos and stuff, and, you know, just 6 months ago, and I had my diet, my personal habits and everything really dialed in at that time, you know, before I kind of took it easy over the holidays,
hey, take it easy, man.
As what we do, man. And you could see that clarity in the skin, that radiance, you know. So I challenge you, whoever you are, listen to this. Take control of your diet. Do it for yourself.
Oh, Dylan, awesome. You look radiant today, Dylan. You're all.
Part of that's the new digs, man. You know, like this podcast.
I know the blue.
It's good, man. I finally got out the paint roller, but I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, you know, about how stepping out of your comfort zone can make you realize things that you didn't realize before that you now realize you really needed to know about yourself, you know? So in a situation like this with the podcast, I'm like, okay, I've been writing for, you know, the blog Waking Times for 6 years, you know, and I write as myself and under a bunch of different pen names. And I've never put a picture of myself on the blog, and I've never really, you know, been out there in front. But kind of on one level, I'm just plain bored with that. You know, life is more interesting. I like to meet people and get out there and, like, you know, make more contact with people, and the internet makes all that possible. But I got to get out of my comfort zone to do this. And this show that's my challenge to myself this year, is to get out of my comfort zone. And this show is the way that I'm doing it. And so he was like, "How's it going?" I was like, "Well, already, you know, I sense that my awareness of myself is evolving rapidly. You know, I listened to the last show we did, episode 11, and I was like, oh, face palm, dude. You know, you said some wrong words here and there, kind of like the cold-blooded, warm-blooded thing at the beginning of the show, you know. And so it's interesting to put yourself in a situation where you have to develop a higher level or a different level of self-awareness than you've had before and that you're used to. And so things like this with like the set, well, I didn't know how to produce a podcast when we started out on this, you know, middle of last year. You know, I've been working on this for hours and hours, days and days, weeks and weeks, and months on trying to figure out just even the technical aspect, the technical side of putting this together. And so looking at that last show, I was like, man, how can I make it better? How can I make myself better? I can talk more slowly, right? I can focus on one idea at a time. I tend to get really excited and bounce around from idea at a time. I can listen better, you know, and so you can see yourself in a conversation and think, okay, I can tell when I'm listening to Jeff or not, you know. So,
oh, thank you, buddy. That's so cute.
What'd you say, man?
I said, oh, that's really cute. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. See?
Yeah. Whatever, bro. I was talking.
I could say I and Jeff still doesn't know how to produce a podcast. But hey, we're working on it.
That's going to be your challenge, man. I'm gonna get you to acquire some new skills this year. But anyways,
well, I'm not going to shave my goatee. Maybe I should. You hid behind your blog. I hide behind this goatee. You made a big change. Maybe I should shave my goatee off for the next episode.
Oh man, I was gonna. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I was gonna tell you to wear your Redesigning Reality hat, man. That's a cool ass hat.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. I'm gonna do that.
Hey man, I want to say something else, man. You had talked about the healer's journey, and great quote from a man I know who I highly respect. His name is Muginda Makela. He's a 10th generation Bwiti shaman from Gabon, Africa. And a quote from him is, "Life is not a healing journey. Heal yourself and live." Man, I love that so much. Because I see so many people get stuck in these loops of healing. What's wrong with me now? How do I get out of this? What's wrong with me now? A lot of that, you know, especially for people who haven't broken out of the medical establishment, haven't broken out of that paradigm, that mindset that, you know, loops of doctors. I talk to so many people and they're like, oh, well, I don't feel right this way, so I've got to go to this new specialist. You know, I've got to go to this new doctor, or I'm hoping that this new doctor has the answer, or this one doctor's put me on this new fancy pill for, this fancy medication for this condition or whatever, because it could be that, you know, and man, the message from Muginda is, you know, heal yourself now, do whatever it takes, but move on, man. Life's not about healing, it's about living, bro.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because something I started to say when we were talking about that earlier was, you know, when I first started down that path of self-healing, I didn't know how to do it, so I wanted someone else to do it for me, kind of thing, right? So then all of a sudden you're putting your power in the hands of a practitioner, a facilitator, or a medicine in the case of ayahuasca, and you're hoping that this thing is going to fix you or this person or this information. And it's funny because in a way it is necessary. But at one point, I totally remember the point where I realized it was on me, and all the information wasn't doing me any good unless I was uptaking the information, right? All the ayahuasca in the world, I could have drank ayahuasca until I vomited my brains out, and it wasn't going to heal me unless right. But it wasn't going to work or have a lasting effect unless I heeded the lesson, right?
Integrated.
And took the advice, right, and implemented the stuff into my life. And I remember very vividly, the healing session where that became very, very clear to me. And it's one of the chapters in my book, and it's the one called Grasshopper. And it's where this healer guy keeps doing all this work on me. He's asking me to do these things, and I keep apologizing. And he keeps telling me to shut the fuck up and stop apologizing to him. And he's like, that's your problem, is you feel sorry for yourself. You keep saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. What the fuck are you sorry for? Like, you haven't done anything. You came here today for a healing, and yet you keep apologizing to me as if you've done something wrong because there's something wrong with your body. This isn't your fault. And the sooner you realize that you're fine just the way you are, the more rapid your healing will happen. And that's something that you and I have talked about a lot since we moved back here, is how we live in like this I'm sorry society now, where people are just constantly apologizing for themselves and saying I'm sorry to you in the grocery store, in the parking lot, in the mall, in the freaking school, wherever you interact with people. You kind of walk up to somebody and you're trying to get past them or something, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And it's really interesting because we're in this funny place of a lot of people are waking up and becoming more attuned to the fact that it is on them. But then we're also in a place of still, in some ways, almost reverting back to the whole nanny attitude of everything is somebody's got to take care of me and tell me what to do because I don't know how to be a grown up and take up the mantle of my own life, kind of thing.
Man, I've been to that same experience. It took me several years of a whole lot of medicine work with ayahuasca, yahe, as we like to call it, before I understood just how much control I had over my own ability to heal myself. And I remember one time, this was a pivotal moment for me, a game changer, changed my whole understanding of reality. In a ceremony, wee hours of the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever, epic ceremony, in a ceremonial hall with 25, 30 people, proper shamans from Ecuador, super high on this medicine, and you're going through the work in your head. And, like the Santo Daime, they call it the work. The ayahuasca religion, Santo Daime, kind of a mix of Christianity and plant medicine, shamanism. But they call it the work because it is the work. You're not just sitting there tripping, having a good time. You're actually working on yourself and understanding yourself better and confronting a lot of things. And it's hard to do. It's work. And so I was going through this really, really hard situation, and I thought I couldn't handle it anymore. So I was like, "Oh, help!" Like one of the shamans. I was like, "Help!" And he comes over to me, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm cracking up. I'm breaking up here. I can't do this. I can't do this." And he's like, "Oh man, relax." And I told this guy, man, I was like, "It's so hard. It's so hard. I can't do it." And this guy snaps me out of it, wakes me up, looks me right in the eye, and says in Spanish, he says, "Is it super hard or is it super easy?" And when he said that, man, the logic that he threw at me in that moment, and I was in the dire straits, like, just fighting for life, it felt like. And he was like, "Come on, man, like, can't you just make this easy?" Instantly, man, everything changed. I mean, that was a powerful, powerful ceremony for me. But, the simple idea implanted in your mind at the right time was like, oh, wait, hold on. I have more control over how I interpret the situation, how I react to what's happening to me in this moment. I can react as though it's so hard. I can't resist it, tense up, resist it, scream, thrash around in your hammock, crap your pants, whatever. Or maybe it's super easy. Maybe just relax into it, let the medicine do its work, man. It changed my life. That was one moment. I've had a lot of really important moments with medicine, but that one there was a big one. That was when things really started to shift for me. Oh, wait, I have a lot more control than I give myself credit for.
Well, that's why it's so funny. The catchphrase of the day is, the struggle is real.
Well, doorbell just rang here. And
there it is.
Here goes the chihuahua. Yeah, because this is redesigning reality, and you can't have redesigning reality without real. And Jeff and I are real, and we're really at my house, and we really have chihuahuas, and they really do bark every episode.
There goes Chloe.
Okay,
You're really at your house. I'm really at my house.
Hold on, I gotta put the squash on this one. Hold on.
I was gonna say, now we live in this. We live in this society right now.
Okay, back on the scene.
Hey, you little dog. I was just going to say, we live in this society now where people, the catchphrase of the day is the struggle is real. And you sparked my memory of that when you said, es tan duro or es tan fácil, right? So,
hold on.
It's so true. Like is the struggle really real, or are we making the struggle real? Right? Like the struggle there is no struggle. You have the choice, the decision to make it a struggle, or it can be a flow, right? And in the flow, think about the river, right? In the flow of the river, there's the calm spots, there's the corners, there's the little pools, and then there's the rapids, man. And yeah, you're going to go through the rapids and get tossed, but then you're going to find little calm spots too, and that's all flow. It's all flow, man. And if you look at it that way and just float down the river, man, everything can be more calm. It can be, you can accept what's happening to you in life, and deal with things as they come. But if it's a struggle, right, man, this is hard, man, this sucks, man, fuck this, man, you're only going to get more of that, right? More of that's going to come into your life. It's going to show up every day, and believe me, before you know it, you're going to have the fucking attitude about everything and everyone. And it's funny, we got to watch our self-talk. Speaking of purging our diets and cleaning up our act, clean up your self-talk in the new year and see what that'll do for you. Stop the stinking thinking.
Yeah, the self-talk is important, man, and the last few episodes, if you listen to kind of what was going on, you could see, like, I was going through some of those kind of rapid moments, man. And sometimes you just got to hold on, dude. You just got to hold on and be like, okay, I know there's a purpose in this. I'm going to hold on, and I'm going to wake up every day. I'm going to feel the anxiety or the fear or the doubt or whatever it is. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to shove it aside and keep going. And it can't, like being in the river, you're in a rapid, man. Like, if you ever done whitewater rafting, man, there's sometimes you just fucking hold on for dear life. And it's cool.
And sometimes you get thrown out of the boat, dude.
Sometimes you get thrown out of the boat, man. Cracked rock, your head gets cracked on a rock, man. You're like, oh, thank God I brought this helmet, life jacket, busting you to the surface, man. Who knows, man? It's dear life. But
that's how life is, dude. There's always, you got a life jacket, dude. Like you can make the choice to turn it around. It's like, remember that time when we first started doing the podcast, and I don't know, I think we had 3 or 4 episodes, and you were like, I got to make this better, dude. Your audio sucks. Your camera's jacked.
It's true.
And all this. Yeah. Thank you. It was always on my end. But anyway,
it's fucked. That's the word I use.
It's fucked. That's actually Dylan's favorite word. Your video is totally fucked. And I remember you were all like manic and stressing out about it all. And remember I told you the pancake analogy that I just made up in the moment? I was like, Dylan, how like when you're cooking pancakes and you do the first one and you flip it over and the one side's still blonde and it's all weird looking, and then you do a couple more, and then before you know it, they're those perfect round pancakes and they're all toasty and brown on every side. And then what do? You pile up even the shitty ones that you made at first. You put them in a stack and you put a bunch of butter and syrup on them, and they just taste good, and nobody even cares what they look like, and it's a great metaphor for life. Sometimes the pancakes are wonky and they're not cooked perfect, and they're not gonna be selling them shits at IHOP, but by the end, dude, everything kind of calms down and everything finds the right temperature and the right mix, and and in your batter, and the kids are happy in the end because they're eating awesome pancakes. And that's where we're trying to get with the podcast. That's where I think we're trying to get with life, right?
That's life, man. And that's what I was going to say. Like, like you're in these rapids and it's red alert, high alert emergency. You're in these rapids stuck, man, just clusterfuck of, whirlwind, dunking waters, splashing, choking on water and stuff. And then all of a sudden, man, spits you right back out into a calm spot. And I really feel that way, man. Something really shifted for me as soon as the new year turned. I don't really know what it was, but man, when you feel those moments, you feel that shift, man. It just comes, and you're like, oh, bless it, like, oh, here we go, And but you got to work, man. You got to work. You got to invite that stuff, man. And that's why I like doing stuff like detoxes, and now, like when you find that clarity, when you're in that space of that healing space, that mental space of renewal, that part of you that's like, now it's time to renew, time to heal, time to like advance forward. You got to take advantage of it. You got to jump on it. You got to throw everything you can. You got to throw green smoothies, superfoods, vegetarianism, caffeine free, donut free, sugar free, whatever it is you got to do, man. Throw it all up there at once, man, and really cool things happen. And
well, yeah, but then wouldn't you say too, you made the choice, dude. I mean, you made the decision. You were done with that shit, right? And that's ultimately, I think, what we're trying to address here is it's up to you to make the choice, right? You made the decision. You thought on it long enough. You mulled over a few good winter ales and glasses of wine over the holidays, and you were like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna knock this shit off because I've done it before and it felt good, and I'm all about feeling good, and. But that's the thing, man. Sometimes you gotta feel bad for a while to remember what feeling good felt like, and get yourself back on track. I mean, that's all. We're all like that. Nobody's perfect. None of these people out there that are posting their perfect Facebook pictures and their little, their podcasts where they don't tell you that they drank too much wine and beer over the holidays and been feeling shitty and, are now cleaning their act up. Like. Those aren't real people. They're not telling you the truth of their life, and everybody's got ups and downs and bumps and bruises, and that's how we all learn. That's where the big growth happens. We've talked about that before.
And a major factor in this is the ability to accept what's happening at any moment as part of the plan, part of the path that you're supposed to be on.
It's all necessary,
man, and that's challenging to do sometimes, to accept that, like, things are being thrown at you left and right. Your car's fucking breaking down, relationships going shit, whatever it is, man. But it's tough to produce that awareness and live in that acceptance sometimes that bad things happen for good reasons. They can happen for good reasons.
And I think it's hard. It's hard.
They're lessons
because we do it to ourselves. And it's hard for people. We've talked about that before with the forgiveness thing. The hardest person to forgive is you. It's not, I forgive Dylan every day. It's easy. It's so easy. But fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, forgiving yourself is the hardest thing, and in all of these things we've been talking about, it takes the awareness to accept what's happening and admit that it's all happened because of you, your choices, the decisions you've made, your attitude towards things. Those are the things that carry you down these paths, right? And but yet again, they're all necessary.
Yeah, and so thinking about reflecting on the medicine aspect of it. Like you can sit in ceremony, you can be slammed with this information of how your life is falling off, off the tracks, going off the rails, and that stuff. But not everybody does the same thing with that information, right? It takes that exactly what you're talking about, that intention, that dedication to turn that information into whether it's new habits, new ways of thinking, new ways of like just being easy on yourself or whatever it takes, like integration of any lessons that you learn on your spiritual journey is absolutely critical. And so now I've got Chloe. This is Chloe. She's going to sit in my lap now till the end of this here podcast. So.
I keep waiting. She's all looking up at you when you're talking. I keep waiting for her to try to lick you in the mouth.
That's so gross, bro. You're sick, man. You're twisted. So gross.
Chloe, Chloe.
Dogs lick their butt, man. It's so gross.
I know. Well, that's why I keep waiting for it to happen. It's going to be hilarious,
dude. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a good place to stop, man. We've put in our hour.
You know what? Dogs lick their butts. That's a good place to stop.
I think so. I think we better like get ourselves out of this jam we're into now. But
somebody save me quick.
Yeah, you got anything else you want to add, man?
Just so we'll do better the next time. We're always working on this, and you can find us. Dylan, of course, is the curator and content producer for WakingTimes.com, and you can follow us on our YouTube page, and we're also on Stitcher, and we're also available on iTunes now. So
YouTube, Redesigning Reality at YouTube.
And I have my site,
Journey to Inner Sage.
InnerSage.com, yep, and you can contact me there. And
that name is the subtitle of Jeff's awesome, excellent book. It's called Cosmic Wizard: A Journey from Outer Rage to Inner Sage. It's a good one. Check it out. I don't have it in my hand right now, which I usually do, but I've got the chihuahua, so that's many times better. Come on, chihuahua.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Right,
so, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Whoever you are, man, much appreciated. Share the word, and we'll see you next time. We're going to do this every week. I think of it as a weekly mastermind on personal transformation. You never know what we're going to talk about. It's always unscripted, always unplanned, totally off the cuff, and we go wherever we go. So thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Later.
You've been listening to Redesigning Reality with Jeff Anthony and Dylan Charles.
Mokaboya, mokaboya.